Morning. I'm not literally, sorry, I should have been more clear in my, it's not a solar oven. That was a request. I want Tesla to build me one. This isn't a solar oven. Obviously. I mean, it's powered by the ancient sun, right? It's natural gas. So in that way it is solar. But I think that a solar oven could be built. Like you could have like heat elements in the back or in various areas of the oven, heating it up, and those would be electric, solar electric, and then you'd have like maybe a biofuel in there or something. I don't know, because it still needs some flame. Nice. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. They spent some money on it for sure. I'm just gonna get some bagels. I'll be back. Although took more effort than I thought it would. This morning. And it should have. Okay. More these. Hey, good morning. Nice to see you too. Thanks for watching. No, I don't. I only speak English, a little bit of Spanish, not much though. There we go. I got my first batch in the pot. My oven's ready to go, my boards are ready. I was a little disorganized this morning, but I'm starting at a decent time, so it shouldn't be too bad. There they go, they're popping up to the surface. Surface. I have a name tag, but I haven't put my name on it yet, so if you're wondering why it's there. I will do that as soon as I'm able to. I guess I can do it now. There you go, Steve. I would have wrote Steven, but I ran out of space. Put it on that side. There we go. Not the greatest penmanship, but whatever. That's all we do. Come on, hurry up. I need to turn this up. There we go. I've never been to a ball game before. Should go see one. Maybe I should go down to Seattle and watch a game. That'd be fun. Okay, they're almost ready. Okay, they're ready. Here we go. I'm cooking bagels. Sesame bagels. Ones are broken. So I missed that comment. I'm more absorbed in what I'm doing than I ought to be. Ooh. Lunch order? No, we're open at 7 o'clock, so I'm trying to get bagels ready for a 7 o'clock store opening. Ow, ow, ow. So we've got pot, table, boards, oven. My next batch is going in the pot. So I'm doing my first cycle. I'm going to do 3 batches of seed bagels, so I get seeds on the deck, and then I'll start doing my non-dressed bagels. And having seeds on the deck just helps the it prevents the bagels that haven't been dressed from over baking and getting these dark. They get dark rings, so it prevents the dark rings from forming around the. I don't know how to explain it. There we go. 2 batches in. I'm getting bored. Let's hurry this thing up here. Let's turn my pot boiler up. Hamlin towns in Brunswick by famous Hanover City. The river Weser deep and wide washes its wall on the southern side. A pleasanter spot you've never spied. But when begins my ditty, almost 500 years ago, to see the townsfolk suffer so from vermin was a pity. Rats, they fought the dogs and killed the cats, and bit the babies in the cradles, and ate the cheeses from the bats, and licked the soup from the cook's own ladles, split open the kegs of salted sprats, made nests in men's Sunday hats, and even spoiled the women's chaps by drowning out their speaking with shrieking and squeaking in 50 different sharps and flats. At last the people in a body to the town hall came flocking. "'Tis clear," cried they, "our mayor is a naughty, and as for our corporation, shocking. To think we buy gowns lined with ermine, for dolts who can't or won't determine what's best to rid us of our vermin. You hope, because you're old and obese, to find in the furry civic robes ease. Rouse up, sirs, give your brains a racking, to find the remedy we are lacking, or sure as fate will send you packing." At this, the mayor and corporation quaked with mighty consternation. An hour they sat in council. At length the mayor broke silence. "For a guilder eyed my ermine gown sell. I wish I were a mile hence. It's easy to bid one rack one's brain. I'm sure my poor head aches again. I scratch it so, but all in vain. Oh, for a trap, a trap, a trap." Just as he said this, what should hap? At the chamber door but a gentle tap. "Bless us," cried the mayor, "what's that?" With the corporation as he sat, looking little through wonders fat. Nor brighter were his eyes, nor moister than a too long open oyster, save when it knew his quantity newness, for a plate of turtle green and glutinous. Only a scraping of shoes on a mat, anything like the sound of a rat makes my heart go pit-a-pat. "Come in," cried the mayor, looking bigger, and in did come the strangest figure. His long queer coat from heel to head was half yellow and half red, and he himself was tall and thin, with sharp blue eyes as thick a pin, and light loose hair and swarthy skin, nor tuft of hair on cheek nor beard on chin. The lips were smile went out and in, there was no guessing his kith or kin, and nobody could enough admire this tall man in his quaint attire. Quoth one, "It's as my great-grandsire, starting up with the trump of doom's tone, I'd walk this way from his painted tombstone." He advanced towards the council table, "And please, your honor," said he, "I am able, by means of secret charm, to draw all the creatures living beneath the sun, that crawl or swim or fly or run, after me so as you never saw. And I chiefly use my charm on creatures that do people harm, the mole and toad and newt and viper, and people call me the Pied Piper. And here they notice around his neck a scarf of red and yellow stripe to match with his coat of self-same check. And that scarf's then hung a pipe, and his fingers they noticed were ever straying, as if impatient to be playing upon this pipe, as low it dangled over his wrist, so old-fangled. Yes, said he, Pied Piper as I am, in Tartary I fred the cam. Last June from his huge swarms of gnats, I eased in Asia the Nizam of a monstrous brood of vampire bats. And as for what your brain bewilders, if I rid your town of rats, will you give me 1,000 guilders? 50,000 was the exclamation, an astonished mayor and corporation. Into the street the piper stepped, smiling first a little smile, as if he knew what magic slept in his quiet pipe the while. Like a musical adept, to blow his pipe, his lips he wrinkled, and green and blue his sharp eyes twinkled, like a candle flame where salt is sprinkled. And ere 3 shrill notes the pipe uttered, you heard as if an army muttered, and a muttering grew to a grumbling, and a grumbling grew to a mighty rumbling, and out of the houses came the rats tumbling, great rats, small rats, lean rats, brawny rats, brown rats, black rats, gray rats, tawny rats, grave old plotters, gay young friskers, fathers, mothers, uncles, cousins, cocking tails, pricking whiskers, families by tens and dozens, brothers, sisters, husbands, wives, followed the Pied Piper for their lives. From street to street he piped advancing, and step for step they followed dancing, until they came to the river Weser, wherein all plunged and perished, save one who stout as Julius Caesar, swam across and lived to carry, as he the manuscript he cherished, to rat land home his commentary, which was, at first shrill notes of the pipe, I heard a sound as of scraping tripe, and putting apples wondrous right into the cider presses bright, and moving away a pickle tub boards, and leaving a jar of concert cupboards, and drawing the corks of train oil flasks, and a breaking hoops of butter casks. It seemed as if a voice, sweeter far than by harp or by psalteries breathed, called out, "O rats, rejoice! The world has grown to a vast dry saltery. So munch on, crunch on, take your nunch on, breakfast, supper, dinner, lunch on, and just a bulky sugar punch on, already staved like a great sun shone, gracious scarce an inch before me, just as you thought it said, come bore me, I found the Weser rolling over me. You should have heard the Hamlin people ring the bells, they rock the steeple. Go, cried the mayor, get long poles, poke out the nests, block up the holes, consult with carpenters and builders, and leave in our town not even a trace of the rats. When suddenly up the face of the piper perked in the marketplace, the first, if you please, my 1,000 guilders, 1,000 guilders. The mayor looked blue, so did the corporation too, for council dinners made rare havoc with Claret, Moselle, Vin de Grave, Hawk, and half the money would replenish their cellar's biggest butt of Rhenish, to pay this sum to a wondering fellow, with gypsy coat of red and yellow. Besides, quoth the mayor with a knowing wink, our business was done at the river's brink. We saw with our eyes the vermin sink, and what's dead can't come to life, I think. So, friend, we're not folks to shrink from our duty of giving you something to drink, and a matter of money to put in your poke. But as for the guilders, what we spoke of them, as you well know, was in joke. Besides, our losses have made us thrifty. 1,000 guilders, come, take 50. The piper's face fell and he cried, no trifling, I can't wait beside. I promise a visit by dinner time, Baghdad, and accept the prime of the head cook's potage, all he's rich in, for having left in the caliph's kitchen, of a nest of scorpions no survivor. With him I proved no bargain driver, with you don't think I'll bait a stiver, and folks who put me in a passion may find me pipe after another fashion. How, cried the mayor, do you think I brook, being worse treated than a cook, insulted by or ribald, with idle pipe and vesture piebald? Threaten us, fellow, do your worst, blow your pipe there till you burst. Once more he stepped into the street, and to his lips again laid his long pipe, a smooth straight cane. And ere he blew 3 notes, such sweet soft notes as yet musicians cunning never gave the enraptured air, there was a rustling that seemed like a bustling of merry crowds justling, a pitching and hustling. Small feet were pattering, wooden shoes clattering, little hands clapping, and little tongues chattering, and like foals in a farmyard when barley is scattering, out came the children running, all the little boys and girls, with rosy cheeks and flax and curls, and sparkling eyes and teeth like pearls, tripping and skipping around merrily after. The wonderful music was shouting and laughter. The mayor was dumb, and the council stood as if they were changed in the blocks of wood, unable to move a step or cry. To the children merrily skipping by, could only follow with an eye that joyous crowd at the piper's back. And how the mayor was on the rack, and the wretched count his bosoms beat, as the piper turned from the high street, to where the western rolled into waters, bright and waved their sons and daughters. Our return from south to west, to Copperwork Hill his steps addressed, and after him the children pressed, great was the joy in every breast. He never crossed the mighty top, he's forced to let the piping drop, and we shall see our children stop. When lo, they reached the mountainside, a wondrous portal opened wide, as if a cavern was suddenly hollowed. The piper advanced and the children followed, and when all were in to the very last, the door in the mountainside shut fast. Did I say all? No, one was lame, and could not dance a whole the way. And in after years, if you'd blame his sadness, he used to say, "It's dull in our towns that my playmates left. I can't forget that I'm bereft of all the pleasant sights they see, which the piper also promised me. 40 letters he said to a joyous land, joining the town in jest at hand, where waters gushed and fruit trees grew, and flowers put forth a fairer hue, and everything was strange and new. The sparrow is bred in a peacock here, and the dogs are brown and fallow deer, and honeybees had lost their stings, and horses were born with eagle's wings. And just as I became assured, my lame foot be speedily cured. The music stopped, and I stood still, and found myself outside the hill, left behind against my will, to go now limping as before, and never hear of that country more. Alas, alas, for Hamelin, there came into many a burgher's pate a text which says at heaven's gate, opes to the rich at as easy rate as a needle's eye takes a camel in. The mayor sent east, west, north, and south to offer the piper by word of mouth, wherever it was men's lot to find him, silver and gold to his heart's content, if only he'd return the way he went, and bring the children behind him. But when they saw 'twas lost endeavor, piper and dances were gone forever. But when they saw it, I lost my place. Alas, alas for Hamelin, there came to many a burgher's pate the text which says at heaven's gate, opes the rich at as easy rate as the needle's eye takes a camel in. The mayor sent east, west, north, and south to offer the piper by word of mouth, wherever was men's lot to find him, silver and gold to his heart's content, if only he'd return the way he went, and bring the children behind him. But when they saw 'twas lost endeavor, and piper and dancers were gone forever, they made a decree that lawyers never should think their records dated duly, if after the day of the month and year these words do not as well appear. And so long after what happened here, on the 22nd of July, 1376, in the better in memory affixed, the place of the children's last retreat, they called it the Piper Street, where anyone playing piper tabor was sure for his future lose his labor, nor suffered they hostelry or tavern, shocked with mirth the street so solemn, and opposite the place of the cavern, they wrote the story on a column, and on great church window painted, the same to make the world acquainted, how their children were stolen away, and there it stands this very day. And I must not omit to say that in Transylvania there is a tribe of alien people who ascribe the way and dress of which their neighbors lay such stress to their fathers and mothers having risen out of some subterranean prison into which they were Japan a long time ago in a mighty band out of Hamlin towns in Brunswick land, but how or why they don't understand. So, Lily, let me and you be wipers of scores out with all men, especially pipers. And if they should pipe us free from rats, from mice, if we promise not, let us keep our promise. Cleaning the boards, 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 cleaning the boards. half baked.
Half baked.
Oh my god. Ooh. My first thought was he lied in every word. That hoary cripple with malicious eye, askance to watch the working of his lie on mine, and mouth scarce able to afford suppression of the glee, the pursed and scored its edge that one more victim gained thereby. What else should he be set for with his staff? What saved the waylay with his lies and snare? All travelers who might find him posted there. And as the road, I guessed what skull-like laugh would break, what crutch can write my epitaph, the pastime in the dusty thoroughfare. If at his counsel I should turn aside into ominous track which all agreed hides the dark tower, yet acquiescingly I did turn as he pointed, neither pride nor hope rekindling at the end descried, so much as gladness some end might be. For what with my whole world wide wondering, what with my search drawn out through years, my hope dwindled into a ghost not fit to cope with that obstreperous joy success would bring. I hardly tried now to rebuke the spring my heart made finding failure in its scope. As a sick man buried near to death seems dead indeed, and feels begin and end the tears, and takes the farewell of each friend, and hears one bid the other go, draw breath, freely or outside, since all is over, he saith, no blow fallen, no grieving can end. While some discuss if there are other graves be rude enough for this, and when a day suits best in carrying the corpse away, with careful manners, scarfs, and staves, and still the man hears all and all he craves, he may not shame such tender love and stay. Thus I have for so long suffered in this quest, heard failure prophesied so oft being writ, so many times among the band to wit, the knights who true dark towers search should rest their step, that just to fail as they seem best, and all doubtless now should I be fit. So quiet as despair I turned from him, that hateful cripple, out of his highway into the path he pointed. All the day had been a dreary one at best, and dim was settling into its close. Yet shot one grim red leer to see the plain catch its stray. For mark, no sooner was I barely found, pledged to the plain after a pace or two, then pausing for backward a last view. Over the safe road 'twas gone, grey plain all round, nothing but plain to horizons bound. I must go on, naught else remained to do. So on I went. I think I never saw so starved in noble nature. Nothing throve, for flowers as well expect a cedar grow, but chortle and spurge according to their law. My propagate their kind with none to awe. You think a burr had been a treasure trove, no penry and nervous grimace, in some strange sort were the land's portion. See or close your eyes, said nature peevishly, it nothing skills, I can't help my case. 'Tis last judgment's fire must cure this place, calcine its clods and set my prisoners free. If there pushed any ragged thistle stalk above its mates, its head was chalk. The bents were jealous else. What made the holes and rents in the dock's harsh forest leaves? Bruised as to balk all hope of greenness. 'Tis a brute must walk, cashing their life out with a brute's intents. As for the grass, it grew as scarce as hair and leprosy. Thin, dry blades pricked the mud which underneath looked kneaded up with blood. One stiff, blind horse as every bone stared, stood stupefied however he came there. Thrust out past service from the devil's stud. Alive, he might be dead for aught I know, with red, gaunt, and callous neck strain, and shut eyes beneath the rusty mane. Seldom one such grotesque as sit with such woe. I never saw a brute I hated so. He must have been wicked to deserve such pain. I shut my eyes and turned them on my heart, as a man calls for wine before he fights. I asked one to act for earlier, happier sights, ere fitly I could hope to play the part. Think first, fight afterwards, a soldier's art. One taste of old time sets all to rights. Not it. I fancied Cuthbert's reddening face beneath its garniture of curly gold. Dear fellow, till I almost felt him fold. An arm and mind fixed me to that place, the way he used. Alas, when night's disgrace, out of my heart's fire and left it cold. Giles then, the soul of honor, here he stands, frank as 10 years ago when knighted first. An honest man should dare to say he durst. Good, but the scene shifts. Thaw what hangman's hand pinned to his breast a parchment. His own band reads it. Poor traitor spit upon and cursed. Better this present than a past like that. Back therefore to my darkening path. No sound, no sight as far as the eye can strain. Will the night send a howlet or a bat, I asked, when something on the dismal plain came to arrest my thoughts and change their train. A sudden river crossed my path, as unexpected as serpent came. No tides congenial to the glooms. This is a froth by, might have been a bath of the fiend's glowing hoof. To see the raft of its black eddies be spat with flakes and spoons. so petty yet so spiteful. All along low scrubby alders kneeled over it. Drenched willows flung them headlong in a fit of rout despair. A suicidal throng. The river which had done them all the wrong, whatever that was, rolled by, deterred no whit. Which while I courted good saints, how I feared, set my foot upon a dead man's cheek. Each step revealed spear I thrust to seek for tangle, hollows tangled in his hair or beard. It may have been a water rat I speared, but ugh, it sounded like a baby's shriek. Glad was I to reach the other bank, now for a better country. Vain presage, who were the strugglers? What war did they wage? Whose savage trample could thus pad the dank soil to a plash? Toads in a poison tank, or wild cats in a red-hot cage. The fight must so have seemed in that foul cirque. What penned them there with all the plain to choose? No footsteps leading to that horrid muse. None out of it, mad brewage set to work their brains, no doubt, like galley slaves a Turk, pit for his pastime, Christians against Jews. And more than that, a furlong on, why there? What bad use was that engine for, that wheel? Or brake, not wheel, that harrow fit to reel men's bodies out like silk, with all the air of Tophet's tool, on earth left unaware, brought to sharpen its rusty teeth of steel. Then came some stub ground, once a wood, next to marshes it seemed. Now mere earth, desperate and done, must so the fool finds mirth, makes a thing and mars it, till his mood changes, and off he goes, within a rude bog, bay and marsh, sand and stark black dearth. Now blotches rankling colored gay and grim, now patches where some leanness of the soils, broken to moss or substances like boils. Then came a palsied oak, a cleft in him, a distorted mouth that splits its rim, gaping at death and dies while it coils. As far as ever from the end, not in the distance but the evening knock, point my footsteps further at the thought. Great black bird, Apollyon's bosom's friend, sailed past, or beat his wide wings dragon-penned, that brushed my cap, perchance the guide I sought. For looking up where I somehow grew, the plain had given place all round to mountains with such names to grace, mere heights and heaps now stolen in view. How thus they surprised me, solve at you, how to get from there was no clear case. Yet half I seemed to recognize some trick of mischief had happened to me, God knows when, in a bad dream perhaps. Here ended then progress this way, when in the very nick of giving up one more time, came a click as when the trap shuts, you're in the den. Burningly it came upon me all at once, this was the place. Those two hills to the right crouched like two bulls locked horn in fight, while to the left a tall scout mountain, Dunt's daughter dozing at the very nunce after a lifetime of training for the sight. What in the midst lay with the tower itself, the round squat turret built of brown stone without, blind as a fool's heart, built of brown stone without a counterpart in the whole world. The tempest mocking elf points to the shipman thus the unseen shelf, who strikes on only when timbers start. Not see, when noise, because of night perhaps, why day came back for that. Behind it left the dying sunset, kindled through a cleft. The hills like two giants in the hunting lay, chin upon hand to see game at bay, now stab and end the creature to the heft. Not here, when noise was everywhere, it told, increasing like a bell, names in my ears of lost adventurers and peers. How such was strong and such was bold, and such was fortunate for each of old. Lost, one moment down the bow of years. There they stood, ranged along the hillside met, view the last of me, for one more picture, a sheet of a living. There they stood, ranged along the hillside met, view the last of me, a living living frame, one more picture in a sheet of flame. I saw them and knew them all, and yet, dauntless, the slug one to my lips I set in blue, child rolling to a dark house cave. Okay. I was going to throw that one out anyways. it got too wet in the water, so it was no good. It's our first batch of bagels this morning. Sesame bagel. this.